Part 37. Qin Ye's little ancestor is a real boss. Author, Junanan. Chapter 361. Sun Chan's face suddenly darkened. I didn't consider that they were actually doing something under my nose. Sun Chan has a bad temper and wants to send Nan Yan back immediately. He wants to teach them a lesson. Second Master, there is no need to worry. Nan Yan said calmly, if we don't catch them, they won't admit it. It would be more appropriate to catch them and record their actions so that they can't defend themselves. Sun Chan frowned and said, but if you delay for another day, your progress in treating 3 patients may be delayed. Since they are using such dirty methods, I don't have to abide by the rules anymore. As long as the 3 patients are cured, Ji Yunmiao can't win. Nan Yan's tone was calm, but her gloomy and cold eyes clearly showed her displeasure. With only 6 days left, can we make them recover? Sun Chan also knew medical skills, and he also checked the pulses of 3 patients. These are relatively complex and difficult to treat diseases. Within 7 days, improvement can be seen after treatment, but recovery is impossible. Even if his medical skills are not as good as those of his senior brother Hua Shifang, he can definitely be ranked among the top Chinese medicine doctors in China. There won't be too many mistakes in the examination. If Chinese medicine is not good, there is still Western medicine. Combining traditional Chinese and Western medicine, a two-pronged approach, it is not difficult to cure. 6 days is enough. Sun Chan originally wanted to say that this time the assessment was specifically for Chinese medicine, and using Western medicine would be a foul. But when he thought that all the miraculous doctors had gone so far as to trip up Nan Yan and wasted no time caring about the patient's life, he took a deep breath and said nothing in the end. Talking about going to Baikou Garden is just an excuse. Nan Yan went to buy a few pinhole cameras, and took some Chinese medicine plants from the Baikou Garden, and returned to the courtyard. After returning to the courtyard, without Nan Yan's explanation, Sun Chan went directly to the 2 elders from the miracle doctor sect, suppressed his temper and chatted with them for a few words, and gave Nan Yan time to install the camera. The pharmacy was installed, and Nan Yan also installed cameras where the 2 elders lived. After the 2 sides were installed, Sun Chan randomly found an excuse to take the 2 elders out of the patient's residence. Cameras are still installed where patients live. Once everything is installed, it's done. Nan Yan deliberately said in front of the 2 elders, Second Master, their bodies need more water. Remember to let them drink more water every day. Sun Chan chuckled, I know. Before leaving, Nan Yan gave Sun Chan a T-2 reagent and asked him to pour it into the water for the 3 patients. Pour a little each time, and the effect of the medicine will not be too overbearing. With their current physical condition, they can completely bear it. In the afternoon, when the medicine practitioner was boiling the medicine, the 2 elders repeated their old trick and added something to the medicine while the medicine practitioner was leaving. After adding things, they returned to their temporary room and called the great elder again. But they didn't know that their actions and the conversation with the great elder were all recorded. Nan Yan saw this clearly through surveillance. I conveniently cut off all the videos and saved them on my phone so that they can be used as evidence later. Hashtag. The national computer competition was held at Taito University. Zhang led the team and brought several students participating in the competition to come a day early and wait until the day of the competition to meet up with Nan Yan. On the day of the competition, Nan Yan wore the uniform of Zhide High School and went to the agreed meeting place to wait for them. Qin Ye knew that Nan Yan was going to compete and planned to go to the competition to cheer her on. After Ms. Qin found out, she couldn't sit still and insisted on going with Qin Ye. Grandma, I told the principal that I would take you there, and the principal agreed and gave us front row seats so we can watch the smoke contest up close. Recently, under the influence of Nan Yan, Qin Ye has become more and more harmonious with Ms. Qin. I know that the old lady is hard-spoken and soft-hearted, and looks stern, but as long as she acts coquettishly, she can't do anything to her. Mrs. Jean narrowed her eyes with a smile. Okay, let's go quickly. After saying that, he glanced at Qin Lu, who was sitting in a wheelchair and eating breakfast elegantly. Oh, your eldest brother's leg was injured at the wrong time. Otherwise, he can also go to the Anyan competition and cheer her up. Now, it's just us, the grandparents, who are going to go. Why do these words sound a bit gloating? Qin Lu felt that the old lady was deliberately hurting his heart. This is not over yet. His phone on the dining table lit up. Someone was sending him a message. Put down the tableware in your hands, take your phone over and unlock it. Above are photos sent by Shen Junqing and Bai Chen. Imperial Multimedia Classroom. The place where Nanyan will compete. Qin Lu. Triple heartbreaking. He silently glanced at his legs, and his hatred for Caesar increased several times. After Mrs. Jean and Qin Xia packed up, they chatted and laughed and asked the driver to take them to Imperial University. Qin Lu finished the last bite, wiped his mouth with a napkin, and ordered. Wu Yu, arrange a car to go to Imperial University. Wu Yu, yes, master. Hashtag. Yan Yan, this way. Zhang Lian had sharp eyes. When he saw Nan Yan get out of the car, he quickly waved to attract her attention. Nan Yan saw them and strode towards them. Seeing Nan Yan, Feng Tianji, Zhou Shaija, and Zhao Xiang again couldn't help but be excited. Team Leader. Team Leader Nan, we finally see you again. Team Leader Nan, I haven't congratulated you yet, you got the first place in the grade again. Nan Yan responded lightly, and then asked, how about you? How did you do in the exam? Not bad, he. The three people looked at each other a little evasively, and touched their heads embarrassedly. The three of them have been preparing for the computer competition. The class time has been reduced by more than half, so how can they get good grades? But they dare not say this. After all, Nan Yan requires all the students in Class 4 of Senior 2 to improve their test scores, and how much the average score should be improved. They also know that they will be given special tutoring if they fail to meet the requirements. The group of students in Class 4 of Senior 2 usually join in the fun, relying on their powerful families and not caring about the college entrance examination. But after being threatened by Nan Yan, they all went crazy and studied hard. In this final exam, the class ranking unexpectedly went from the bottom to the 6th in the whole grade. Although the three of them envied the rapid progress of Class 4 of Senior 2, they mainly focused on the computer competition and prepared to rely on awards for admission. So, I don't care too much about the results. As long as it's not too bad, it's okay. Nan Yan saw their guilty conscience, curled her lips, and said with a smile, is it okay or not? Well, Team Leader Nan, now is not the time to talk about the final exam. Let's prepare for this computer competition first. Okay, after school starts, I'll ask your class teacher about your study situation. 3 people. Qin Ye's little ancestor is a real boss. Author, Junanan. Chapter 362. After all, he was a student she had taught. Although she was taking their computer courses, it was understandable that she cared about her studies. Zhang Qianqian couldn't help but laugh when he saw the three people's hopeless expressions. But then he suppressed the raised corners of his mouth, walked to Nan Yan and said, Nan Yan, when will you have time to go to the computing institute? The director keeps mentioning you to me. The last time Nan Yan stepped in, she helped their computing institute a big favor. Since then, Tan Lin has been full of praise for her. Naturally, if you don't like him more and more, you won't use Nanyan to attack him all day long, saying that he is not good at anything. Can you blame him? There are a few perverts in the world like Nan Yan. At such a young age, their computer skills have already reached the world's top level. He also wants to compete with Nan Yan, but is this something he can achieve even if he thinks about it? Nan Yan thought about the things she had arranged during the summer vacation and discussed, can it be done after school starts? She really couldn't spare any time during the summer vacation. Of course, Zhang Qianqian smiled and said, as long as you are willing to go, it depends on when you have time. Just let me know in advance when you want to go. He waited a while and told the director the good news. During this time, he had been tortured by Tan Lin's thoughts, wanting him to take Nan Yan to the institute again. Now Nan Yan finally nodded in agreement, hoping that the director would torture him less in the future. After exchanging pleasantries, the group got in the car and went directly to Imperial University. Hashtag Taido University. The annual National Youth Computer Competition is held here. A total of 168 high schools across the country passed the junior selection and came here for the finals. The venue for the competition is the multimedia classroom of Imperial University. When Nanyan and the others arrived, almost all the teams from other schools had arrived and were waiting for the game to start. Zhang Qiaoyuan saw that Feng Tianji and the others were a little nervous before the game started, so he comforted them. Don't be nervous, trust your team leader, she is definitely capable of leading you to the first place. With a king like Nan Yan, there is no need to worry about a ball. Zhang Qiaoyuan was somewhat envious of the luck of these three students. With a great boss like Nan Yan leading him, as long as he shows up on the stage and wins the first place in the competition, he won't have to take the college entrance examination and will be directly expelled. Zhang's words made Nan Yan look at him coldly. Then, with the excited expressions on their faces, Feng Tianji and the other three said quietly, "Don't waste teacher Zhang's teaching results." The implication is that it is impossible to advance through the ranks relying on her abilities. Zhang Qiaoyuan looked a little embarrassed. In fact, after he finished speaking, he felt that he had said the wrong thing. It is so rare to qualify for a walk-in. How can you win by lying down? You still need real materials. And even if he doesn't believe in his own teaching level, he still has to believe in Nan Yan. After all, Nan Yan took his place and taught them a lot. Ahem, team leader Nan Yan is right, everyone must work hard and do their best to participate in this competition. The three people nodded quickly, we will. But it's no longer fair for me to participate in this competition. I'm giving you an advantage. Nan Yan clicked her tongue, and before Feng Tianji and the others could show their joy, she said unhurriedly. But the recommendation is just a qualification. If you want to become an industry elite in the future, you must be real and practical. I suggest that you work hard to catch up on your cultural knowledge after the computer competition. After all, even if you major in computer science in the future, you cannot lack the foundation of cultural courses. Her words caused some changes in the expressions of Feng Tianji, Zhou Shaijia, and Zhao Xiang. Originally, what the three of them thought was that after they obtained the recommendation qualification, they could relax and no longer have to work as hard as other senior high school candidates. But Nan Yan's words woke them up. At the same time, they also secretly made up their minds to use the remaining year to sprint hard and work harder. Zhang led the way and observed their emotional changes. He couldn't help but look at Nan Yan with admiration. It is a great loss to the education community that she is no longer a teacher. Thinking of her interest in teaching as a substitute, he couldn't help but approached her and asked softly, "Yan Yan, are you interested?" "No," Nan Yan cut off the rest of his words with 2 words before he could finish. Zhang leads the way. Before he has finished speaking, do you know what he wants to ask? Touching the tip of his nose in embarrassment again, Zhang Qiaoyang did not continue the previous topic. Not long after, the organizer asked the team leader to draw lots to decide the groups. Zhang took the lead and handed Feng Tianji and the 3 of them to Nan Yan, who went over to draw lots. At this time, the largest multimedia lecture theater in Imperial University was already overcrowded. There were many people sitting in the audience. In the middle of the row were Mrs. Qin and Qin Ye. Not far from them, 2 rows behind, were Shen Junqing and Bai Chen. The two of them, like chasing stars, got a video equipment and planned to record Nan Yan's last game. Qin Lu didn't say hello in advance and came a little late. The seats in the front row were all taken, and since he was in a wheelchair, it was not suitable for him to go forward, so he watched from the last row. Wu Yu looked at the noisy environment, frowned and said, "Master, how about I go find the principal and arrange a seat in front?" Qin Lu said lightly, "No need. He can also see his children clearly here. No need to join in the fun." Qin Ye spoke, and Wu Yu stood behind him obediently without saying anything. Zhang Lingling quickly came back with the lottery and the rules of the competition. Because there are too many participating schools, we use the group promotion method. 168 schools are divided into 10 groups, and the first place in each group advances to the second round of the finals. We are in the third group, and we will go to the computer classroom with other schools in the third group to participate in the competition. Because there are too many people, the multimedia classroom cannot provide so many computers. Only the final will be held in the multimedia classroom. And the promotion competition will have a special camera, which will be projected to the multimedia classroom so that the audience who come to watch can watch it live. When they came to the computer classroom for the third group competition, Zhang Lingling said, "Nan Yan, the teacher cannot enter here. I will wait for your good news outside." "Yes." Nan Yan responded and took 3 people into the venue. After all the participants in the competition sat in front of the computer and got ready, the live broadcast projection of the multimedia classroom was also started. I don't know if it was intentional or coincidental, but the moment the screen was projected, it was fixed on Nan Yan's image. "Ah, that female student is so beautiful. Which school is she from? Her beauty is too amazing. Look at her school uniform, she's a student at Hyde High School. This is my goddess." You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Qin Ye's little ancestor is a real boss. Author, Junanan. Chapter 363. Someone recognized Nan Yan by any name. After all, when she showed her face during the esports competition, her face was completely engraved in the minds of esports fans. The first time I saw her, I just didn't react. The second I recognized her, I recognized her. With the first exclamation, more and more people recognized Nan Yan's identity. So in the multimedia classroom, a group of people shouted in unison, "Smoke God! Smoke God! Smoke God!" Mrs. Qin looked confused. "Are they calling us Yan Yan?" Qin Ye nodded hurriedly, staring at the big screen without blinking. Yes, I'll go. Yan Yan is really beautiful, the angle of the camera makes me cry." "Why do you call her the god of smoke?" Mrs. Qin still doesn't quite understand. After all, gaming competitions are too far away from her world and she has never been exposed to them. Qin Ye quickly took out her mobile phone, pulled out the information she had found related to Nan Yan's last competition, and explained to Mrs. Qin, "Grandma, Yan Yan used to be the temporary captain of AEG and took professional esports players with her. Participated in the competition and won the championship." Mrs. Qin's eyes lit up. "Yan Yan is so powerful." Qin Ye nodded repeatedly, yes. They are all human beings, why can Yan Yan be so good? He knows medical skills, he knows how to play games, his academic performance is second to none in the next grade, and he also knows how to use computers. It's really incomparable. Shen Junqing and Bai Chen, who were sitting in the audience, stared at the girl on the screen with different emotions in their eyes amid deafening cheers. Wu Yu was also shocked by the enthusiasm of the audience, and couldn't help but murmured, "I'm a good boy, master, Miss Nan has so many fans." Qin Lu's eyes were gentle, and the corners of his lips curved with a hint of endearment. "She is very good." So good that he couldn't help but want to hide her. However, he cannot do this. The little girl has her own path. He can walk side by side with her, but he cannot interfere with the route she wants to take. Not all the viewers who come to watch play games, so many people don't know Nanyang. On the contrary, because of the enthusiasm of these fans, they couldn't help but frown in disgust. The national computer competition is an important competition. How can we have this kind of fandom culture? The audience that was originally amazed by Nanyang because of her incredible appearance on the screen, some also became resistant to her because of the random shouting of fans. Soon someone started to shout at them and tell them to be quiet. Nanyang, who was preparing for the promotion competition in the computer classroom, had no idea what was happening outside. As the competition begins, in the live broadcast, you can only see all the participating students competing seriously. After Nanyang finished answering all the questions with 10 points, he rested his head in boredom, waiting for the competition time to arrive. An hour and a half later, Nanyang was the first to submit and left the classroom. Outside, Zhang Cheyu saw her coming out and quickly came over and asked, "Yan, how are you doing?" Although he knew that he would definitely advance, he couldn't help but be nervous and wanted to get a positive answer from Nanyang. Nanyang raised her eyebrows. "We'll know the promotion results soon." Zhang leads the way. He just wants to know in advance, doesn't he? Half an hour later, the results of the promotion match came out. Not surprisingly, the third group, Nanyang, advanced. Regarding this result, not only those close to Nanyang were happy, but even the fans at the scene couldn't help but be excited. After the advanced teams came out, they went to the multimedia classroom together. The host came on stage, gave an official speech, introduced the rules, and announced the official start of the finals of the National Youth Computer Contest. 10 teams are divided into 5 groups and compete in pairs, and then the winning team competes for a third time. The third competition is the arena competition. In the form of a wrestling match, the first team drawn will accept the challenge of the second team drawn. Whoever wins will stay. Then the winner will accept the challenge of the third group of people. Until the end, only one team remained. The atmosphere of the live competition was very intense, and even the audience felt a strong fighting spirit. Unfortunately, Nanyang and his group were drawn into the first group to compete. Nanyang received the host's signal and said calmly, "It's time for us to go on stage." After saying that, she was the first to appear. Nanyang's facial features are stunning. He is also indifferent and distant, with a cold nobility. Her beauty is aggressive, dangerous, and alluring. At that stop, it was enough to attract everyone's attention. After the audience was quiet for a few seconds, there was a burst of astonishing shouts. "The young lady is so beautiful, I love her. Seeing the real person, it's even more beautiful than the previous projection. It's so beautiful. What a good temperament, so charming. Mom, I seem to be in love. In 3 seconds, I want to know all her information." Under the impact of Nanyang's good looks, who still remembers how they were angry at her because of Nanyang's esports fans? Nanyang waited for all her classmates to come on stage, glanced at the field, and spoke calmly. "I am the team leader of Zhide High School for this competition, Nanyang." As soon as the cold and melodious voice opened its mouth, the boys went crazy. The introduction of the team members behind them was almost silenced by the cheers. Qin Ye couldn't help but hold her forehead and muttered softly, "Yan is too good at attracting bees and butterflies. I don't know how many rivals she will attract for my brother in the future." Mrs. Qin looked proud. "With your brother here, she doesn't look down on others." Qin Ye thought, "This is right, my brother is so outstanding, he is not afraid of others poaching him." On the stage, the competition has officially begun. No matter how noisy the people in the audience are, it will not affect the people competing on the stage. Two computers are placed back to back in the center of the stage. There are 3 rounds in total. The first round is a quick answer method. Whoever grabs the most questions, has the highest correct rate, and has the most points wins. Nan Yan told Feng Tianji and others. The first round is all basic, you can assign them freely. But don't be stubborn, the correct rate is the most important. Team leader, aren't you going? Nan Yan smiled slightly, I'll give you a chance to show your face. By the way, I'll check your training results. 3 people. Just then, the pressure suddenly became huge. However, in order to prevent Nan Yan from thinking that they were not good enough, the 3 of them encouraged each other, then sat in front of the computer and started the game. In the first round, Nan Yan did not play, and the contestants from the 2 schools fought back and forth, and the game was very intense. The score ended at 46-44. The opponent narrowly won the first game. The score was too close, if there were 10 more questions, the result might be different. Team leader, I'm sorry, we lost. The 3 stood in front of Nan Yan in shame, lowering their heads and blaming themselves. They lost in the first round, and they felt very bad. Nan Yan raised her hands and applauded, comforting them, it's already very good, only 2 points behind, don't be discouraged. We still have the next 2 games, we can make it back. Qin Ye's little ancestor is a real boss. Author, Junanan. Chapter 364. Feng Tianji and the others nodded seriously, gathered their emotions, and prepared for the second round. With Nan Yan joining the team, there was no doubt that this round was a draw. In the third round, the decisive round, Nan Yan did not let the opponent lose too badly and kept the score at a small gap. Smoke God, you are so awesome. I didn't expect that not only are you good at esports, but you are also so good at computer technology. The leader of the school was convinced that he had lost. Moreover, he is also a person who loves esports and is also a fan of Nan Yan. Looking at the beautiful Nan Yan, he couldn't help but raise his hand and touch his head, and said sheepishly, Yan Shen, can you sign your name for me? Nan Yan has always been generous to fans. Hearing this request, he nodded and said, come to me after the game. Okay Smoke God, come on Smoke God. The competitive atmosphere on the stage was very harmonious, and there was no sign of the losing team feeling depressed or sad, trying to play emotional cards to gain attention. On the contrary, because of the idol effect, several students said that they will work harder in the future so that one day they can catch up with Nan Yan and get closer to their idols. The audience in the audience couldn't help but feel more favorable towards Nan Yan after seeing this scene. Before the second team came up, Nan Yan and his group had a 10-minute break. Zhang went up with 4 bottles of mineral water and gave each of the 4 of them 1 bottle. Nan Yan took a bottle, unscrewed the cap and took a sip. Her keen sixth sense allowed her to catch a lingering and doting gaze. Subconsciously raising her head, she looked directly at the back of the classroom, where Qin Lu was. From a distance, Qin Lu stared at her gently. It was as if the hustle and bustle here couldn't distract him from any of his attention, and he could only see her in his eyes. Of course, she was indeed the only one who could be put in Qin Lu's eyes at this time. Nan Yan curled her lips and gave him a faint smile. Qin Lu also smiled back at her. Others didn't know why Nan Yan smiled suddenly, but they were all dazzled by her smile, and they were all stunned. However, Shen Junqing and Bai Chen discovered the situation in time and looked back. Sure enough, I saw Qin Lu sitting in the back. Shen Junqing. Bai Chen. Now it's the 2 of them who are worrying. Dog man, even if his leg is lame, he doesn't forget to come over and join in the fun. 10 minutes later, Nan Yan's group faced the next group. Similar to the competition method of the previous group, In the first round, Feng Tianji, Zhao Xiang, and Zhou Xiaojia participated in the quick answer competition. If they win in the first round, Nan Yan will still not participate in the second round. She will not take action until the third round to ensure that they can continue to win. After doing this twice, the audience also found out. I couldn't help but wonder how strong Nan Yan was. As long as she wins in several rounds of competition, the result will definitely be victory for the team she leads. And every time after the game, the defeated team looked at Nan Yan with admiration and asked for her autograph. After 4 rounds of competition, Nan Yan's group deservedly won the final first place. Zhang Qianqian happily reported to Yu Ziwen and told him the good news. Yu Ziwen's face turned into a smile, but his voice was very calm. I have known the result for a long time, so don't be too surprised. Tell Yan Yan, don't forget to go to Country M as an exchange student, don't waste the time. Okay, Principal, do you want to say a few words to classmate Nan Yan? If you don't, then you will fail. Yu Ziwen quickly said, give her the phone. Zhang Qiaoyuan knew that Yu Ziwen was pretending to be calm, so he laughed, stretched out his hand and handed over the phone. Yan Yan, the principal's phone number. Nan Yan took it and called out coldly, teacher. Yan Yan, thank you for winning the first place in the computer competition for the school. There was excitement in Yu Ziwen's voice, but he was not as calm as when he was talking to Zhang Qiaoyuan before. It's not just my fault, the 3 of them are also very good. Nan Yan's words are true. Feng Tianji and the other 3 are among all the contestants. Their ability is considered above average, and can even be called a high level. Without her, they would have made it to the finals even if they couldn't take first place. But the competition is so cruel, and the one who is remembered will always be the first. Only first place will bring the greatest honor to the school. This can be regarded as the first gift she gave Yu Ziwen after becoming the principal. As for the second one, let's give him the top scorer in the college entrance examination. Yu Ziwen was very happy. After explaining everything, before hanging up the phone, he did not forget to tell her to go to his house after returning to Jinqing and ask Luo Xiajun to cook delicious food for her. After hanging up the phone, Nan Yan returned the phone to Zhang Lianqian. Teacher Zhang, I will leave the rest of the award receiving matters to you. I have other things to do. You're not going to receive the award. Zhang Qiaoyuan was a little surprised. After all, no one will go on stage to receive the award first, and let the camera record this highlight moment. Well, I won't participate. Nan Yan smiled, there are people waiting for me, and I don't want to keep them waiting any longer. Oh, okay then. Zhang Qianqian knew that she was very busy, so he didn't force her to stay. Then if Nan Yan has anything to do in the future, you can contact me at any time. After Nan Yan responded casually, she spoke to Feng Tianji and the 3 of them, stepped down from the stage first, signed autographs for classmates from other schools who were waiting for her signature, and then went to find Ms. Qin. After seeing her coming down, Madame Qin couldn't wait to ask Qin Xiu to help her up and wanted to find Nan Yan. Nan Yan came to Madame Qin's side, supported her, and smiled gently, Grandma, thank you for coming to watch my game. Madame Qin's face was smiling like a blooming chrysanthemum, and her old and rough hands kept patting her hands. This time, Grandma didn't come in vain. If she hadn't seen it with her own eyes, how could she know that Yan Yan could be so outstanding? Now, the more she looks at Nan Yan, the more she likes her, even more than before, and more than she likes her other granddaughters. Yan Yan, you really opened my eyes. Yan Yan, you are so amazing. Qin Xiu couldn't help but get excited. I don't care, you have to sign for me, and give me autographed photos. Nan Yan was helpless, I'm not a star. You have to face up to your current popularity. Qin Xiu opened her eyes and said in a somewhat hurried tone, do you know how popular you are in the esports world now? Do you know how many fans you have in the esports world? You are a star now, you are not allowed to say that you are not famous. Nan Yan. She really didn't care. But the game anchor is also to be a face for Anziran's game company. Now her live broadcast account has more than 30 million fans, which is indeed not a small number. The reward for each live broadcast is also around 50 million, and she still has more than 20 million in her hands after splitting it in half with the platform. Qin Ye's little ancestor is a real boss. Author, Junanan. Chapter 365. After being reminded by Qin Shiu, she seemed to be able to get some AEG team peripherals as a thank you gift for the fans. As for her autographed photo, forget it. But she could ask other people to take autographed photos, especially her fourth brother. It would be a bit unreasonable not to use a handsome face that could rival a young boy to attract fans. Anziran, who had no idea that he was clearly arranged by Nan Yan, was happily sending red envelopes in the group. His sister won the first place in the computer competition, which was such a proud and exciting thing. Even Mr. An, Mr. Lu and other people who watched the live broadcast together were laughing. Of course, it was just Nan Yan who was at the competition side who didn't know. After Nan Yan had a plan, she said to Qin Shiu calmly, "Okay, I'll go back and prepare it for you." "Yan Yan, congratulations." "Xiao Yan Yan, congratulations." Shen Junqing and Bai Chen came to Nan Yan together. Nan Yan said faintly, "There's nothing to congratulate. I just played with the kids." This competition was just like playing house in her eyes. Shen Junqing didn't know her strength, so congratulations were fine. But Bai Chen's congratulations were a bit of a tease. "Don't think she couldn't hear it?" Old Madame Qin said with a smile, "To celebrate Yan Yan's first place today, let the kitchen prepare a rich dinner. You two can eat together at Qin's house." Shen Junqing and Bai Chen naturally wouldn't refuse, and agreed happily. Qin Lu was waiting for Nan Yan and the others near the door. The multimedia classroom was bustling now, with people coming and going. It was not easy for Wu Yu to push him through. In order to avoid unnecessary trouble, he didn't go in. When Nan Yan and the others came over, Qin Lu curved his lips and spoke in a low and gorgeous voice, "Yan Yan, congratulations. Just come to join in the fun." Nan Yan naturally walked behind him, took over Wu Yu, and pushed his wheelchair. "To these students, I bullied them. If she hadn't joined, it would be another team that would have won first place today. She was considered to have cheated for Zhide High School. However, cheating is cheating, who asked her to protect her shortcomings?" Qin Lu understood what she meant and said gently, "You are originally a member of Zhide High School. You are fighting for the reputation of your school, there is nothing wrong." Nan Yan licked her lips and smiled brightly, "Brother is right, but I don't care." The people following the two had different expressions. Mrs. Jean had a satisfied and doting smile on her face. Qin Shiu and Wu Yu had a look of being hit. As for Shen Junqing and Bai Chen, they were just sad that their own little cabbage was taken away. Ji Yunmiao threw her phone, her eyes full of disdain, but she couldn't help being jealous in her heart. She didn't expect that she would see Nan Yan when she clicked into a live broadcast at random. For some reason, she watched the whole live broadcast and saw Nan Yan won first place. The praises and words of admiration on the bullet screen were extremely glaring to her. "You really love to show off." Ji Yunmiao snorted coldly, took the phone back, exited the live broadcast, and went to see the three patients. She didn't know before that Nan Yan was actually a student in an ordinary high school and represented the school in a computer competition. A sense of superiority arose again. Nan Yan was only worthy of being in such a domestic school, but she went to colleges and universities. Only she would care about the awards of such youth competitions, probably for the college entrance examination and to strive for recommendation. Learning Chinese medicine is a very time-consuming and energy-consuming thing. She is a high school student who is preparing for the college entrance examination, so she will definitely not be too attentive to Chinese medicine. The final winner of this competition will definitely be her. Thinking of this, Ji Yunmiao's gloomy mood improved. She took the pulse of the 3 patients again and felt that the patients' conditions had improved. She showed a proud smile on her face. "Miss Ji, how is the treatment going?" Feng Zhenzi would come to ask about the progress every day. "I feel a little better. Everything goes well." Ji Yunmiao's face was full of confidence and pride. "In a few days, their condition will improve greatly. Although they cannot be cured because of the short time, they will at least be half better." "That's good." Feng Zhenzi nodded with satisfaction after hearing her words. "Nan Yan, our people will add a little more to the medicine she boils for the patient. It's good that her patient's condition will not worsen. In this way, you will definitely win." Ji Yunmiao frowned slightly, and her tone was a little unhappy. "There is no need for such means. Don't you still believe in my medical skills?" She spoke now with more confidence than when she spoke to Feng Zhenzi before. After all, Feng Zhenzi and the others, as well as those people from the Divine Doctor sect, are all counting on her to win Nan Yan. She is so important that she naturally doesn't need to be servile to them anymore. On the contrary, they should please her. If they want her to be a puppet and use her to continue to control the Divine Doctor sect, it depends on whether she agrees. Ji Yunmiao secretly made up her mind that from now on, the Divine Doctor sect would be hers. She would make those who doubted her shut up forever. She was the Divine Doctor. Feng Zhenzi saw that she was unhappy, and said with a little coaxing, "Isn't this for the sake of being foolproof? Of course we believe in your ability. This is a double insurance to ensure that the final result is what we want." Ji Yunmiao's face looked better. "Then tell them to be careful and never get caught." "Don't worry, they won't get caught." Hashtag. The 7th day as agreed has arrived. The Divine Doctor sect is bustling again. The Great Elder and other people from the Divine Doctor sect are all there, waiting for Nan Yan and Ji Yunmiao to send their 3 patients over. The people from the Chinese Medicine Alliance, led by Tao Qingming, also came to the Divine Doctor sect to be a witness for Nan Yan. Just 2 days ago, after Nan Yan participated in the National Youth Computer Competition, she contacted Tao Qingming the next day and met with several old Chinese medicine practitioners from the Chinese Medicine Alliance. Several old Chinese medicine practitioners were impressed by Nan Yan's ability. Now they have all added Nan Yan's WeChat. If they have any questions about Chinese medicine, they can ask her on WeChat at any time. After learning from Tao Qingming that the Divine Doctor sect had done such a thing, several old Chinese medicine practitioners could not sit still. They were afraid that Nan Yan would be bullied, so they followed Tao Qingming. The first one to arrive was Ji Yunmiao. The elder saw the 3 patients who followed her and walked in by themselves, and the smile on his face deepened. "Yunmiao, you are here." Ji Yunmiao smiled slightly. "Elder, seniors, I am not late, am I?" "No, you are still early, the other one has not come yet," the elder said meaningfully. "I guess she is in trouble, let's wait a little longer. Let your patient sit inside first." You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Qin Ye's little ancestor is a real boss. Author, Junanan. Chapter 366. About 10 minutes after Ji Yunmiao arrived, Nan Yan and Sun Chan also arrived with her 3 patients. It was a completely different picture than what Feng Zhenzi, the Great Elder and others had guessed. The 3 Nan Yan brought not only walked in by themselves, but also looked rosy, just like normal people who were not sick. How can this be? Not to mention that they were blinded. Ji Yunmiao's eyes widened in disbelief. Tao Qingming had long known about Nanyan's methods. Professor Lian Yuan, Master Chang, and Fu Yubai could all be cured of such serious illnesses, not to mention the 3 of them who were not too serious patients. After Nan Yan entered the door, he scanned the room with his eyes and said quietly, "Since Miss G and her patient arrived first, let's just go through the procedure." The great elder couldn't believe it, and walked directly to the three patients. "All of your patients have been cured." After saying that, without even waiting for Nan Yan to open his mouth, he already took action, picked up the patient's hand and felt his pulse. When he felt the patient's pulse, his expression changed. As if he couldn't believe it, he let go of the patient's hand and immediately reached for the next person's hand. Sun Chan stood aside and watched with cold eyes, looking at the shocked expressions of the people from the Divine Doctor sect and the Master sect, feeling secretly happy in his heart. Let them bully his disciple. They didn't hesitate to use dirty tricks. When they were slapped in the face later, he wanted to see what else they had to say. Soon, the great elder checked the pulses of all three patients, and the shock in his eyes became clearer. He actually recovered. A week ago, he personally checked the pulses of these 6 patients and knew how difficult their injuries were to treat. Even if he comes, let alone a week, a month will be enough to make them recover quickly. How is it possible that within a week, you can be like a normal person? Not to mention, didn't he ask Lao Wu and Lao Lu to add something to the medicine she gave them to treat their illnesses? The great elder subconsciously looked at the 5th elder and 6th elder who came with Sun Chan. The 5th elder and 6th elder were also confused and couldn't figure out the situation at all. They indeed followed the great elder's request and tampered with the medicine every day. As for how the patient got better, they didn't know. "Great elder, what's the result?" Toyo Masaharu saw something was wrong and hurriedly came over to ask. The great elder didn't want to look too ugly in front of everyone, but his heart was already in a mess. Judging from the patient's condition alone, Nan Yan is definitely better than Ji Yunmiao. Ji Yunmiao's patient's injury has only improved somewhat, but he is still far from being cured, and he cannot compare with Nan Yan at all. How on earth did she do it? He stared at Nan Yan, trying to see some emotion in her eyes. But Nan Yan was too indifferent, with a pair of calm and indifferent black eyes, carrying an aura of alienation. Feng Zhenzi saw him looking at Nan Yan in a daze and couldn't help but ask again. The elder's eyes were complicated and tangled. He didn't want to talk about the conditions of the 3 patients in Nanyang. But there are so many old Chinese medicine doctors here, and anyone with long eyes can see it, so they can't hide it even if they want to. He lowered his eyes and said, "I'm cured." Feng Zhenzi's expression changed drastically and he couldn't help but look back at Ji Yunmiao. Of course Ji Yunmiao didn't believe it. She quickly walked over and took the pulses of the 3 patients herself. After checking his pulse, his eyes were full of disbelief. "Impossible." Her tone was a bit sharp. "They can't get better so quickly. What means did you have to make them get better?" As she said that, she rolled her eyes and asked sternly, "I understand, did you use banned drugs on them?" Forbidden drugs are drugs that are prohibited from use in the traditional Chinese medicine community. After taking it, people can quickly improve from a near-death state and become like normal people. However, the patient's body did not get better. Instead, the overbearing effects of the banned drugs suppressed the condition, giving the patient the last time to do what he wanted to do. Moreover, banned drugs have a time limit. Generally, they are effective for up to 24 hours. After 24 hours, a person will not be able to survive. So when Ji Yunmiao said these words, it immediately caused quite an uproar. "How is this going? Miss Nanyang, did you really use banned drugs on them? It's impossible. Looking at the conditions of these 3 people, they don't look like they have used banned drugs." Sun Chan's eyes turned cold and he could hardly control his temper. He glared at Ji Yunmiao and shouted, "What the hell are you farting at? Yanyan has superb medical skills. She has mastered the true skills of my senior brother Hua. It is her duty to treat illnesses and save people." The great elder was reminded by Ji Yunmiao's words, and he firmly grasped the stout and asked, "Nan Yan, how do you explain that their bodies have completely recovered in just 1 week? No matter how superb your medical skills are, it is well known that traditional Chinese medicine is slow to produce results and takes a long time to treat. It will take at least a month for their illness to be cured." Nan Yan looked at the great elder and said word by word, "If you can't do it, it means you are not good at studying. This is why you cannot be called a miracle doctor. When my master did not go into seclusion, the people he treated were treated much faster than Western medicine, no matter how severe their symptoms were. Do you dare to deny this?" The great elder was speechless. Of course he couldn't deny it. Hua Shifang's medical skills are legendary in their eyes. And these people are probably not even 1/10 as good as him. Could it be that she really learned all of Hua Shifang's medical skills and surpassed him? But how old is she? How talented can a girl who just turned 18 be? Nan Yan no longer had the interest to explain. She walked in front of Ji Yunmiao, with a cold and oppressive look, as if looking at an ant. "I said, with you, are you worthy of being compared with me? You think you are the best doctor in the world after learning Chinese medicine for a few years and getting some prescriptions from my master? You really think highly of yourself?" Ji Yunmiao's face suddenly turned pale, and a nameless anger rose in his heart. "You are talking nonsense. I rely on my real ability, and it is true that I can cure diseases and save people. What right do you have to say that about me? Yes, I am indeed not as lucky as you to be able to worship Hua Shinai as my master. If I could worship him, my current achievements would definitely not be worse than yours. No, I will be better than you." Ji Yunmiao's tone was a little hysterical. She absolutely refused to admit that she was worse than Nan Yan, and she didn't believe that she was inferior to her. "You don't deserve it." Nan Yan replied indifferently, "Your character and virtue are not worthy of being accepted as a disciple by the master. Accepting someone like you is an insult to him." Boom. Ji Yunmiao felt as if a string had broken in his mind, and he took 2 steps back in succession. Feng Zhenzi saw Nan Yan's aggressive attitude and said sternly, "Nan Yan, don't go too far. Qin Ye's little ancestor is a real boss." Author, Junanan. Chapter 367. Seeing Nan Yan's aggressive attitude, Feng Zhenzi said sternly, "Nan Yan, don't go too far." "Who is going too far? Do you think we are blind?" Tao Qingming couldn't bear it anymore, and said angrily, "Can you be more biased?" The people around him pulled his clothes, trying to remind him not to be impulsive. This is someone else's business, they are here to be witnesses, and it is inappropriate to say these words. Although they also think that the Divine Doctor sect has gone too far. But since it is a competition, now everyone with a discerning eye can see that Ji Yunmiao lost and the little Divine Doctor agreed. No matter how unwilling they are, it is useless. Feng Zhenzi wanted to say something, but Sun Quan spoke coldly. "My disciple and I are not here to quarrel with you, and you don't want to cheat. Announce the result." Feng Zhenzi. The great elder. The rest of the Divine Doctor sect looked at each other. I didn't know what to do immediately. None of them wanted Nan Yan to inherit the Divine Doctor sect, nor did they want to hand over the control of the Divine Doctor sect. Who would have thought that it would be foolproof, but the result would be like this? After a moment of silence, the elder turned his attention to Nan Yan again. "On the surface, it is indeed Nan Yan's patients who are cured better. Now I have a question for you." Nan Yan raised his chin slightly, "Ask. What prescription did you use to cure them?" Sun Chan's face sank. "Are you trying to cheat?" The elder did not dare to treat Sun Quan badly, and quickly explained, "No, I just want to see the prescription and learn. After all, their Divine Doctor sect needs Biko Garden to provide medicinal materials. If they offend him, if they are cut off from medicine in the future, the consequences will be very serious." I see that you just don't want to admit it. Okay, I didn't want to publish these videos and voices, but now it seems that they must be published. What video and voice? The elder's heart was alarmed. Even Feng Zhenzi, who was standing beside him, and the fifth and sixth elders who came back from the courtyard, were a little nervous. They were so careful, they shouldn't have been discovered, right? Sun Quan turned around and said to Nan Yan, Yan Yan, since they have made up their minds to be shameless, there is no need to save face for them. Nan Yan walked directly to the computer on the desk, turned on the computer, and inserted a USB flash drive. Then, she turned the computer screen around so that everyone could see it. A few seconds later, a picture appeared on the screen. It was a picture of the fifth and sixth elders putting things in the medicine pot while the medicine apprentice who was boiling medicine was out. As soon as the video was released, the fifth and sixth elders panicked. They really didn't know that there was a camera in the courtyard, and they took these pictures. Those who were invited to be witnesses saw this scene, and their eyes became a little subtle. And Tao Qingming and others were already angry. The great elders and their group were also stunned, and they even wanted to stop the video from being played. If these things were exposed, the reputation of the Divine Doctor sect would be ruined. Nan Yan looked at the person who rushed up to stop her, and a sneer rose at the corner of her lips. She kicked the person who rushed up easily. With her foot on the back of a disciple of the Divine Doctor sect, Nan Yan said slowly, "You'd better not mess with me. I have a bad temper. If you don't want these things to be published on the internet, let them all be broadcast." The elder's face was gloomy. His mind was turning quickly. The video only captured the fifth and sixth elders fighting. If he put all the responsibility on the fifth and sixth elders, he could save the Divine Doctor sect. However, just as this thought came up, there was a video of the fifth and sixth elders calling him. The content of the conversation on the phone was released by Nan Yan, indicating that the actions of the fifth and sixth elders were explained by him and Feng Zhenzi. The elder and Feng Zhenzi looked at each other and saw two words in each other's eyes: "It's over." Being caught by Nan Yan, they could only hand over the inheritance of the Divine Doctor sect to him. The Divine Doctor sect was silent for a while, with only the sound coming from the computer speakers. No one spoke for a minute until the contents of the USB flash drive were played. The great elder regained his sanity and asked with difficulty, "You knew they were doing something, why didn't you catch them in the act?" Nan Yan said sarcastically, "If you caught them in the act, how could you know that you, the great elder, would do such a dirty and despicable thing to prevent me from inheriting the Divine Doctor section? The Divine Doctor sect is handed over to you, and you will only destroy the Master's hard work. From today on, I will manage the Divine Doctor section. What else do you want to say? What else can be said?" Even the great elder couldn't find a reason to stop Nan Yan from inheriting the Divine Doctor sect. Besides, if the video in her hand was sent out, it would be enough to ruin their reputation. And the most important thing for opening a clinic is reputation and integrity. Nan Yan has such medical skills and is the direct disciple of the Divine Doctor Hua. If she stands up and releases these videos to the public, I'm afraid they may not be able to survive in the Chinese medicine industry in the future. Besides, they signed an agreement, and according to the agreement, they had to hand over the Divine Doctor sect to her. After all, there were so many witnesses, they couldn't go back on their word. Forget it, forget it. Anyway, the money they had collected over the years was enough for them to spend in 3 lifetimes, so it was better to keep a little dignity. The elder smiled bitterly, acknowledging Nan Yan's identity. He asked, "How do you plan to accommodate us?" Nan Yan walked to the middle and said in a calm and clear tone, "The Divine Doctor sect needs to be comprehensively rectified and will suspend business for a period of time. As for you elders, you are all old, so you should enjoy your life in the future and stop interfering in the management of the Divine Doctor section. The doctors in the sect need to be assessed. Those who pass the assessment can stay, and those who fail the assessment will leave. Nan Yan paused, looked at the uneasy Chinese medicine practitioners, and said, if there are those who don't want to stay, they can leave now. The elder thought for a while, we can stay out of it, but after all, we have been guarding the Divine Doctor sect for so many years and maintaining its operation, so you have to give us dividends. Okay. The elder didn't expect that Nan Yan agreed so straightforwardly, and for a moment he couldn't help but wonder if she had any conspiracy. Then in order for the Divine Doctor sect to continue to develop, you should also provide some financial support, right? When it makes a profit in the future, I will give you dividends. The great elder. She is trying to get something for nothing by asking them to invest first? Sure enough, it is not that easy to get dividends from her. The elders considered it again and again, and finally decided to pay this money. In their opinion, the Divine Doctor sect used to make a fortune, and with Nan Yan, a person with better medical skills, coming to take charge, it is estimated that they will make more money. With the initial investment and rectification, they can still get money in the future, which is a stable profit. Qin Ye's little ancestor is a real boss. Author, Junanan. Chapter 368. The elder has figured it out. But Feng Zhenzi is going crazy. The sect has been relying on the income from the Divine Doctor sect to maintain the operation of the sect and provide them with food, drink, and entertainment. Now that the Divine Doctor sect has changed its owner and has become Nan Yan's, can they still get money from the Divine Doctor sect in the future? Obviously, this possibility is very small. Feng Zhenzi didn't even care about his face and said loudly, I don't agree to let Nan Yan take over the Divine Doctor section. What qualifications do you have to disagree? Sun Quan no longer has any expectations for the sect. From this incident, he has completely decided that he will never have any contact with the sect again. No matter whether they call him a traitor or call him a traitor to his master and ancestors. Since this sect is no longer what it was when he joined, and it has fallen so much that he can't see any of its original appearance, it is not worth his nostalgia. Feng Zhenzi, when senior brother Hua founded the Divine Doctor sect, you have been trying to stop him and even sabotage him. What? How shameless are you to say that you don't agree with Yanyan taking over the Divine Doctor sect? You have gained a lot from the Divine Doctor sect over the years, and you are greedy by nature. Do you want to take over the Divine Doctor sect for yourself? I will leave this here today. I wonder who dares to question the identity of Yanyan as the successor. Sun Quan's angry words made Feng Zhenzi embarrassed, and his face turned red like liver. He said angrily, Sun Quan, I am your senior brother. Sun Quan looked at him and sneered, my senior brother is only Hua Shifang. You and I are not the same master. Don't come close to me again. There will be no relationship between you and me in the future. This sentence undoubtedly broke with Feng Zhenzi in public. Feng Zhenzi didn't expect that Sun Quan, who always looked honest, would say such a thing. Finally, he looked at Sun Quan's cold expression, and then looked at Nan Yan's expression with a hint of hostility, and shut his mouth awkwardly. The subsequent handover process was also smooth. The great elder handed the seal representing the Divine Doctor sect to Nan Yan, and Sun Quan, Tao Qingming and others applauded enthusiastically. Ji Yunmiao had been ignored for a long time. She stood in the corner, watching Nan Yan being treated like a star, her expression twisted with jealousy. She was unwilling. She was really unwilling. She was obviously only one step away from taking over the Divine Doctor sect. Ji Yunmiao swore that Nan Yan would never let those 3 patients recover completely within 7 days. She definitely used other means. One day, she would catch her foxtail. Ji Yunmiao glared at Nan Yan with resentment, and quietly ran away while no one was paying attention to her. She was afraid that if she stayed any longer, the great elders would find trouble with her. As a result, when she ran back to her residence and was about to pack up her things to return to the country immediately, She was suddenly hit on the back of her neck with a club. She fell to the ground and lost consciousness. Hashtag. After handing over the management rights of the Divine Doctor sect, Nan Yan asked the elders to move their things away and go home to retire, and arranged for the doctors who were willing to stay, and then closed the Divine Doctor sect. The Divine Doctor sect needs to be renovated and thoroughly rectified. It will not be opened until it is done. Those who came to witness it did not expect to see such an exciting reversal. Seeing Nan Yan's determination to do things, they couldn't help but praise her for being worthy of being the apprentice of the Divine Doctor Hua, and had a lot of expectations for the future development of the Divine Doctor sect. After Tao Qingming congratulated Nan Yan, he also told her that if she needed any help, she could tell him. Nan Yan nodded. "Mr. Tao, you go back first. There are a lot of things to deal with in the Divine Doctor section. I will contact you after I am done." Tao Qingming responded with a smile and left with the people from the Chinese Medicine Alliance. After everyone left, Nan Yan called the remaining doctors who were willing to stay and began to move out all the messy things in the Divine Doctor's clinic. It took 2 hours, and except for the desk and the calligraphy written by Hua Shifang, the hall was completely empty. "Second Master, I'll give you a decoration drawing, and you can find someone to redecorate it." It's not that Nan Yan didn't want to stay and watch the decoration in person, but she really couldn't spare the time. There are so many things waiting for her to do. Sun Chan understood that she was busy. "Okay, tell me if you have anything, and I'll do it." As he was talking, there was a sound of a wheelchair sliding on the ground. Nan Yan subconsciously turned around and saw Qin Lu. She was surprised for a moment and walked over. "Brother, why are you here?" Qin Lu sat upright in a wheelchair, slightly raised his chin, looked at her, and smiled gently. "Come to see you." Wu Yu said quickly, "Miss Nan, in fact, the young master has been here a long time ago, but he just hasn't come in." Qin Lu's voice dropped 8 degrees. "Wu Yu. The year-end bonus is gone." Wu Yu shrank his neck timidly, looked at Nan Yan pitifully, pointed at Qin Lu, and his hands immediately turned into a bowing gesture. He was asking Nan Yan to help him speak for him. After being reminded by Wu Yu, she knew that it was probably because Qin was worried that she would be bullied today and was worried that he came here. As a result, she killed all the people in the world and dealt with the elders and Feng Zhenzi and others honestly, leaving him no room to play, so he did not show up. Now that she was done with her work, she came over and pretended that he just came to see her. Who knew that Wu Yu, the big mouth, would directly expose her? She suddenly discovered that Boss Jean's ears seemed to be a little red. Could it be that he is shy? This discovery made Nan Yan feel quite interesting. If there were not so many outsiders here, she would have wanted to touch his ears. Cough. Hold it. Slightly curling her fingers, Nan Yan naturally took over the responsibility of pushing the wheelchair, and put her hand on his shoulder. "Brother, Wu Yu is telling the truth, just wanting to tell me that you care about me, so don't blame him." Qin Lu's thick and curly eyelashes trembled slightly. He lowered his eyes to cover the strong emotions that suddenly rose in his eyes. With a light cough, he said lightly, "Since Yan Yan speaks for him, then I won't deduct it." Looking closely, Nan Yan found that Qin De Lao's ears seemed to be a little redder than before. Nan Yan endured again, and warned herself in her heart that there were others here, and she must not do anything out of control. In order to avoid doing something uncontrollable, she quickly moved her eyes away from his ears and looked at Sun Chan. "Second Master, let me introduce him to you. He is Qin Lu, my..." Nan Yan paused and added a few words before the title. "Currently, he is my brother. As for what their relationship will be in the future, it is still uncertain." Sun Chan originally thought that he was his biological brother when he heard Nan Yan call Qin Lu brother. But after seeing the communication and actions between the two, he felt that something was wrong. Now after hearing Nan Yan's explanation, he understood it immediately. Sun Chan's eyes became sharp. Are you planning to take advantage of my disciple? You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Qin Ye's little ancestor is a real boss. Author, Junanan. Chapter 369. Sun Chan's eyes were sharp, and he looked at Qin Lu with pressure. Are you planning to take advantage of my disciple? Nan Yan. Qin Lu. Even if you want to take advantage of me, you can't say it so bluntly. Qin Lu coughed dryly and said implicitly, Old son, Yan Yan is still young. Yes, she is still young, and her master and I will not let her get married so soon. The Divine Doctor sect and Baiko Garden are waiting for her to inherit. Boy, don't waste your time on my disciple. Sun Chan is not so easy to fool. How can he let a pig take advantage of his disciple who he finally recognized? What's more, the pig in front of him is physically disabled. If Nan Yan's medical skills can't cure it, it is estimated that it will never be able to stand up in this life. No matter how decent he looks, he can't let Nan Yan be with him. His disciple deserves a healthy man. Sun Chan never married and had no children in his life. He really liked Nan Yan and regarded her as his own daughter and granddaughter. He didn't like her enough, so how could he tolerate other men coveting her? Nan Yan didn't expect that Sun Chan would directly state that he didn't allow her to be with Qin De Lao. This. She glanced at Qin Lu silently. Qin Lu was also quite silent. The second master was so difficult to deal with, and the master in Shenangjia might be even more difficult to deal with. Although Nan Yan felt that she could make her own decisions and didn't want others to tell her what to do. But she still hoped that Qin Lu could get their recognition. Nan Yan patted Qin Lu on the shoulder. Come on, De Lao. She could only support him mentally. I can't help. Sun Chan even deliberately pulled Nan Yan over and told her seriously, Yan Yan, you are still young, just 18 years old, which is the age when you are easily deceived. Remember not to trust men easily, especially elite men who look mature, stable and charming. They are the best at deceiving people. Nan Yan glanced at Qin Lu, who looked unhappy, and nodded with a smile, I know, second master. What a difference in treatment. Before, she took Shen Junking and Bai Chen to visit the courtyard. The second master didn't say anything and took the initiative to cook for them. Before leaving, he also told them to visit often. Why is it that Qin Lu's treatment is completely different? Wu Yu couldn't help but worry about his young master. What to do? Mr. N has already conquered him, why is he facing the embarrassment of his master now? It's really hard for the young master to pursue Miss Nan. Qin Lu looked at Nan Yan's smile and gritted his teeth secretly. The conscienceless little guy, still laughing. Seeing the veins on the back of Qin Lu's hand holding the wheelchair handle, she hurriedly said to Sun Chan, Second master, I will go back with my brother first, and call if there is anything. Sun Chan looked at Qin Lu with some concern, but still nodded, yes. Then his face became serious and he said to Qin Lu sternly, Boy, you are not allowed to bully Yan Yan, understand? Qin Lu said respectfully, Old son, don't worry, I am more reluctant to let her be bullied than you. I still have these limits. That's about right. Sun Chan's face looked better and waved his hand, okay, you go back first, Yan Yan has been busy all day and is tired. Not only did she solve the control of the Divine Doctor sect, but she also took over the patients of the Divine Doctor sect before. As for the 3 patients that Ji Yun Miao had not cured, she would continue to treat them. And the 3 patients who had been cured were picked up by their families after thanking them profusely. Hashtag. Back to the car. Nan Yan reached out and poked Qin Lu's slightly frosted face. This touch. This skin. It makes people want to poke it again and again. Nan Yan was secretly poking and wanted to poke a few more times. Her hand was suddenly grabbed by Qin Lu. Yan Yan, it's not easy to poke the face, poke here. Nan Yan only felt a warmth in her palm, and looked down, her palm was pressing on his abdominal muscles. Nan Yan. Don't tempt her. She was about to lose control. But Qin Lu, that evildoer, still tempted and said, Yan Yan, does the touch here feel better than the face? She couldn't bear it anymore. She licked her lips and gritted her teeth. You asked me to touch it? Nan Yan touched his abdominal muscles several times without hesitation. Seeing Qin Lu's breathing quicken and his chest rising and falling no longer calm, Nan Yan provoked mischievously, Brother, can you continue? Wu Yu was driving in front and couldn't help but smile like an ant. The relationship between the young master and Miss Nan is heating up so quickly. He thought that the young master would be unhappy about being targeted by Mr. Sun. Now it seems that he was too naive. Let alone Mr. Sun's objection, anyone's objection, as long as the young master has Miss Nan completely under his control, is there any problem? Of course there is no problem. As expected, the young master is still smart. He knows to start with the most important person. Wu Yu thought happily. He silently looked at the situation behind with the rear-view mirror, raised the baffle very considerately, and then reduced the speed of the car to extend the time to return to the Qin family. Qin Lu was asked by Nan Yan, and his whole body was tense again. Then he was defeated, his chin knocked on her shoulder, and his low voice suppressed a strong desire, Yan Yan, spare my brother. The warm current blew into her ears, and this time it was her turn to tremble with stimulation. It was too foul. She wanted to push Qin Lu away. But there was a strong arm on her waist. She was hugged by Qin Lu and pressed against him. The deep and strong heartbeat, through the thin cloth, was transmitted to the side, causing her heartbeat to start to cooperate, and the heartbeats of the two gradually resonated. Qin Lu's chin still knocked on her shoulder, and in the hugging posture, he carefully pressed her hand to stop her from teasing again. Time seemed to have pressed the pause button, and the two maintained a posture, motionless, and just snuggled quietly. Suddenly, Qin Lu sighed and murmured, Yan Yan, there is still 1 year. 1 year later, she went to college. Then he would no longer need to restrain his feelings for her. Nan Yan reached out and hugged him, actually, She wanted to say that she didn't mind whether she went to college. After all, her real age was already 25. Before she finished speaking, a quick ring interrupted the charming atmosphere. Qin Lu let her go and let her answer the phone. Nan Yan took out her mobile phone, and the screen showed that it was a call from Grandpa An. She took 2 slow deep breaths, calmed down her emotions, and chose to answer the call. Grandpa Nan Yan called softly, Is there something wrong? Yan Yan, something happened. Grandpa An's tone was a little heavy, your father and mother were kidnapped. The kidnappers want to talk to you. Grandpa An didn't want to disturb Nan Yan at all. He knew that Nan Yan had no good feelings for An Yeoking and Lu Lihua, and no feelings. But the kidnappers insisted that Nan Yan must contact them, otherwise, they would kill her. Qin Ye's little ancestor is a real boss. Author, Junanan. Chapter 370. No matter what, Lu Lihua and An Yeoking are 2 lives, and they are also their children. It is impossible to watch them die without saving them. If possible, Mr. An would not want to trouble Nan Yan. But there is no way, the other party's request must let her contact them. Nan Yan was silent for a moment, and said in a light voice, Give me the contact information of the kidnappers. She really didn't want to have anything to do with the original owner's parents, but since Mr. An found her, she couldn't just do nothing. Just think of it as her repaying their kindness for the original owner. Yan Yan, will there be danger? What if they want to do something to you? Mr. An's tone was very worried. If they put forward any conditions, you must not agree to it. Let the kidnappers come to Grandpa to put forward the conditions. Don't take the responsibility on yourself, understand? Nan Yan's originally somewhat irritable mood calmed down because of Mr. N's worried words. Not wanting the old man to worry, she comforted him, "Don't worry, nothing will happen." "Well, Yan Yan, if anything happens, you must contact Grandpa in time. You are with Alu now, right? Let him protect you. The kidnapper's target this time is unknown, and it may be related to you. You must be careful." Grandpa N talked a lot. After Nan Yan hung up the phone, Qin Lu asked, "What happened?" In a short moment, the two had regained their calmness, and even the charming atmosphere in the car disappeared. And Yeoking and Lulahua were kidnapped. Nan Yan did not hide it from him. "I feel that the other party is coming for me. I will contact the other party first to see what they want to do. Turn on the speaker." Nan Yan raised her eyes and glanced at him. Seeing the concern in his eyes, the corners of her lips curled up slightly. "Okay." She dialed the contact number sent by Grandpa N, and after 3 rings, the other party answered. After pressing the speaker button, Nan Yan did not speak in a hurry. Wu Yu was also a smart man. Although the baffle was raised, the sound in the car could still be heard. So when he heard Nan Yan was going to call the kidnapper and turned on the speaker, he quickly turned off the light music playing in the car. After more than 10 seconds of silence, the other party lost his temper and took the initiative to speak. "Are you Nan Yan?" Qin Lu stretched out his hand to cover the back of Nan Yan's hand. Nan Yan raised his eyebrows and glanced at him, and Qin Lu returned his doting and reassuring look. It seemed to say, "Don't be afraid, I'll take care of everything." The two people's eye contact lasted only a second, and then Nan Yan replied slowly, "It's me. I think you also know that your parents are in my hands now. If you don't want them to be killed, then follow my requirements and my orders." Click, beep beep. The kidnapper's call was hung up before he finished speaking. "Hello? Hello? The kidnapper was so angry that he walked to Yeoking and Lulahua with his phone in anger and started to greet them with a big mouth. "Is Nanyan your daughter? Why doesn't she care about your life or death? And Yeoking and Lulahua have been kidnapped for more than 4 hours. They were tied up and huddled in the corner in a messy and unpresentable manner. They were slapped several times by the burly kidnappers and were stunned. They were stunned and terrified, tears streaming down their faces. I don't know, please, let us go, don't kill us." Lulahua had never experienced such a thing in his life, and he was so scared that he had lost his mind. And Yeoking was also afraid and angry. As the head of the N family, when had he ever been treated like this? It was all because of that evil girl Nanyan. If it weren't for her, they wouldn't have been caught here. He gritted his teeth and said resentfully, "Of course it's useless for you to arrest us. We have severed our relationship with her a long time ago. She doesn't care about our life or death at all." The kidnapper said gloomily, "So you mean that you two are useless? Since it's useless, just kill us." Originally, they thought that the kidnappers knew that they couldn't threaten Nan Yan with them, so they would let them go. Hearing this, Yeoking and Lulahua were almost scared. They knew that these people really dared. Lulahua screamed, "Don't kill me, I'll give you money, a lot of money." And Yeoking was also very anxious. His life was about to die, so why did he pretend to be tough? He also begged for mercy in a low voice. On the other side, Nan Yan looked at the hung-up phone and turned to look at Qin Lu. She didn't even have time to say a word. "Brother, human life is at stake." Nan Yan was not angry, and deliberately teased him. Qin Lu held her hand in his palm, "I will help you rescue them and won't let them get into trouble. Yan Yan, leave this matter to your brother, don't worry about it." Although he knew that Nan Yan had means and was not an ordinary person. But Qin Lu was still worried that she would be hurt. The other party threatened her with Anyeoking and Lulahua. Even if she hated them, she would find a way to save them. In this way, it was easy for the other party to calculate. Although his little girl looked cold on the surface, she was actually very soft-hearted. I suspect that the people who kidnapped them are related to the M country. It just so happens that I have to go to the M country and save them. Nan Yan knew that Qin Lu was kind and didn't want her to be in danger, but it would be better for her to solve this matter. Qin Lu said, "Then brother will accompany you." Okay. Nan Yan knew that he couldn't refuse, so he didn't say no, and nodded and agreed. Then, he called the kidnapper again. The kidnapper was furious and was ready to get rid of Anyeoking and Lulahua, the two useless hostages, before kidnapping others. Anyway, he was a desperate criminal with several lives on his back, and it didn't matter if he had two more. He had taken out the gun and aimed at Anyeoking. Anyeoking was immediately scared to pee. A pool of liquid spread all over the place where he was sitting, and it also exuded a fishy smell. Just when the kidnapper was about to shoot, his cell phone rang again. The kidnapper picked up the phone, saw that it was the number that called before, and looked at the two people who were almost scared to collapse, temporarily put down the gun, and chose to answer the call again. After the call was connected, he was probably afraid that Nan Yan would hang up again if they disagreed, so he said very quickly, "I tell you, you'd better not play any tricks. If you really don't care about your parents' lives, I will kill them both now, and let you watch them die in front of you." Anyeoking and Lulahua seemed to know that Nan Yan's attitude was related to their fate, and they hurriedly stretched their necks to ask for help. "Yan Yan, please save us, we know we are wrong. Hurry up and agree to him, no matter what he asks, you must agree to him, I don't want to die yet. Don't hang up, save us. Nan Yan. You must save us, we are your biological parents."